will never go away. It'll always be with me. And I think I saw somewhere the sadness is a reminder of how much he means to me.
Just feel like, I did something right in life with him,
We will never know, I don't think any of us will never know what the truth is, And you're talking about there's so many different aspects.
Malcolm Jamal Warner, dead at the age of 54 on a drowning accident while he was vacationing with his family in Costa Rica. Joining us now, Bomani Jones, host of the Right Time with Bomani Jones podcast.
Okay, you guys, hold on to your seats because this right here, it's beyond chilling. Regina King just confirmed what a lot of folks were whispering. Malcolm Jamal Warner didn't just die. He was taken out. And whatever it was he was about to put out there, yeah, someone was terrified because the way this whole thing unfolded. Too fast, too clean, and way too quiet. They told us he drowned in Costa Rica. Yeah, that's the headline. But did they mention where he was, who he was with, how it was even reported? Nope, nothing. Just a vague, accidental submersion and silence. And here's the thing. Malcolm wasn't reckless. He wasn't spiraling or off the grid or in some downward spiral. He was stable. He was respected. He was still working. So for him to just die, just like that, in that exact moment, something's off. Now this is the part that made fans go full detective mode. Malcolm had been working on something, a memoir, and not just some light biography. Number this book? It was going to name names, not for fame, not for drama, but for truth. After decades of sitting on the sidelines and watching it all unfold in Hollywood, he was finally going to speak. And the timing of his death? It was way too suspicious. And then, Regina King's reaction. You guys, it was eerily quiet. The second news of Malcolm's death hit the public, Regina posted 2 low-key Instagram stories. Then she vanished. She didn't do a press run. She didn't write some long emotional tribute. Nothing like that. Just 2 slides. One photo of Malcolm on a motorcycle and a short sentence. Some people leave a lasting imprint, not just for who they were, but for the energy they carried. The next slide. Ride in power. Sounds simple, right? But look closer. There's no mention of grief, no shock, no rest in peace, no mention of the drowning. It doesn't sound like someone who's hearing about a sudden, tragic accident. It sounds like someone who's known this was coming, like a goodbye that was already written in her heart, like she had already processed this. And you have to remember, Regina never posts randomly. She is so intentional with her words, especially when it comes to loss. When her own son passed in 2022, she stayed silent for weeks before saying a word. And when she finally did, it was careful, thoughtful, protective. Take a look at this moment where she finally broke her silence.
Grief is a journey, I understand that grief is love that has no place to go. I know that it's important to me to honor Ian in the totality of who.
So yeah, the way Regina reacted to Malcolm's death, it wasn't surprising for her, but it definitely wasn't normal either. And given her history with Malcolm, I mean, come on, they lived together, she trusted him, she loved him, so why didn't she say more? Or maybe the real question is, why couldn't she? Because as people started digging into what Malcolm was working on before his death, things started looking way more suspicious. That memoir, it wasn't just about him, it was about all the stuff he was told to stay quiet about. The parties, the secret deals, the victims who were supposed to stay silent forever. And the worst part, some of the people involved are still out here, like nothing happened. Malcolm was reportedly gathering stories, real, horrifying stories, that never made headlines. He even opened up recently about how the whole Cosby scandal personally hit him. And not just because of what was exposed, but because of who it exposed. People he once looked up to, mentors, friends. He was shaken. Watch this clip where he gets real about how much it affected him.
Honestly, my biggest feeling is I feel sad for, just the way this whole, just the way the whole story has come about, and when you've done so much wonderful. So many wonderful things for so much of your career.
Now here's where the theory really picks up. People say Malcolm wasn't working on that book alone. He allegedly teamed up with 2 insiders, both with legal backgrounds, to make sure every single page was fact-checked and airtight. That's how serious he was about telling the truth. He wasn't trying to sell drama, he wanted justice. That's when fans started really speaking out. One person said, "It's too many stories, it's nauseating." Just like Angie Stone, I am surprised that Malcolm drowned because he was known to be a good swimmer. Rest in heavenly peace, Malcolm. Another person posted, "Very suspicious. Why would he be swimming in these dangerous waters with his young young daughter. And they're not wrong. Malcolm isn't the first, and sadly, he won't be the last. The entertainment industry, it has a long, terrifying history of making people disappear when they start talking too much. We've seen it before. Someone tries to speak up, the industry goes radio silent, and then boom, that person loses everything or ends up gone. Remember Isaac Cappy? He was calling out Hollywood's elites. Then he mysteriously fell off a bridge. Check out this clip. His close friend explains why he doesn't believe Isaac took his own life. He thinks the whole thing was a setup.
The thing with Isaac Cappy, that's personal to me. Your biggest issue is that things that Aquino and his group taught me to do are fun, and I'm really good at it. Enjoy the dark, brother.
And you know what? Regina isn't just grieving, she's protecting herself, protecting the story. Her silence, her cryptic posts, her full-on vanishing act from the spotlight, that's not just mourning. That's fear, and it makes total sense. She knew Malcolm better than anyone. She knew what he was standing for. She knew what he was planning to expose. So if she's not coming forward, maybe it's because she knows the real cost. Even other celebs who've tried to publish tell-all memoirs, some of them ended up dead too. Jaguar Wright called it out a while back, said this industry doesn't play fair when people start pulling the curtain back. In case you missed it, here's that interview.
Andre was writing a book right before he died. Heavy D was working on a book before he died. Kim Porter was working on a book before she died. And Albie Shore was working on the documentary of his life. And then he goes into a coma.
And now, some fans believe Regina might actually have a copy of that memoir, or at least parts of it, that Malcolm may have sent it to her before he died, not to publish, but to keep it safe. And suddenly everything makes sense, because if that manuscript is even half as explosive as people are saying, then just having it puts Regina in danger. Maybe her silence isn't because she doesn't know what happened. Maybe it's because she's next. And y'all, what's happening now? It's got fans digging way back, going through old stories, mysterious deaths, unfinished interviews, all the stuff we brushed off, forgot, or were too scared to question. People who disappeared from the spotlight. People who died after threatening to tell the truth. Some were tied to powerful families. Some had deep industry connections no one ever really looked into. And each time, the media covered it for a minute, then moved on. Just like that. The truth was buried, and now Malcolm's name is on that list. And the scariest part? We might never know what he was really trying to reveal, unless someone steps up, someone close to him, someone like Regina, or someone else from his circle. Someone has to decide if it's worth the risk to let that truth come out, because here's something no one's talked about yet, and it might be the piece that explains the entire thing. According to a source who was close to Malcolm, the reason he didn't release that memoir sooner, it wasn't because he was afraid, it was because he wanted to protect people. Yeah, you heard that right. He was trying to shield the names of people who were abused, blackmailed, used as pawns in huge, disturbing scandals. Think about that. Once that book was out, it wasn't just going to wreck the abusers. It was going to expose everything. Even the survivors, their stories, their pain, their names. So he waited. He sat on drafts. He went back and forth. He circled around the release for years. But then, when he finally decided he was ready, it was over. Just like that. Everything stopped. If that doesn't scream suspicious, then I don't know what does. But maybe, just maybe, there's still hope. Because rumor has it, a digital copy of the manuscript still exists. Some say it's in the cloud, some say it's on a physical drive that he gave to someone he trusted. If that's true, then this story isn't over yet. Every day that goes by without answers, that's just more time for people to erase evidence, clean their tracks. But if that file ever surfaces, and those names are real, Hollywood could collapse. We're not talking about a few scandals. We're talking about a total meltdown. The people who've been silent, they won't be able to hide anymore. That's why they needed Malcolm gone. That's why they want us to stop asking questions. But all it takes is one person to break the silence and release what he left behind. And if that happens, game over.